whenever you have a game in which you score 1 run on 4 hits, and Martin Maldonado, who is not a good offensive player, goes 0-3, and his batting average goes under the Mendoza line again, you're going to have the fan base that is very vocal about Yainer Diaz needing to be the everyday catcher for this team. And we're seeing that today. Didn't help that Dana Brown went on the flagship and kind of gave his opinion that he really loves Yainer Diaz, and Martin Maldonado is really loved by Dusty Baker. And I think that we're pretty fair with how we treat the catcher position for this team. I think we're fair how we treat Martin Maldonado. I think we look at the value that he does bring to this team, kind of the invisible value, because it's like calling pitches, being able to be the psychological guy behind the dish to help out a young pitcher. But whenever you have games like that, and it seems like you have real conflict, and I don't think it's like they're mad at each other, but you have Dana Brown, who is obviously a Yainer Diaz believer. You have Dusty Baker, who's obviously a Martin Maldonado believer. And when you score 1 run in a game, Martin Maldonado's over, goes under the Mendoza line again, you're going to have a very vocal fan base that is pro-Yainer Diaz and anti-Martin Maldonado.
Well, and I think the bigger issue goes back to even what we've said in the past, which is Dusty's not afraid to sit someone down that's red hot. And when you talk about the extra base hits over the last 2 games, I think he's had 4 of them in the last 2 games, that he was really, really hot coming into last night's game, and everybody was, first thing they were looking at before the game even started was, is he in the lineup? When he's not in the lineup, it's a little bit of a head scratcher. Then coming out of the game with what you said, now there's even more to point fingers at and go, what are we doing here? And why are we doing it? And I agree with you. I don't think that there's like animosity between Dana Brown and Dusty Baker, but I do believe that both kind of use the media as a tool from time to time. And Dana used it as an opportunity to say, hey, it's Dusty's job to find a spot in the lineup for a guy like him, especially when he's hitting like he's hitting. So it doesn't necessarily, he probably left the door open that doesn't have to be at catcher, but you can read between the lines enough to think that I think he's indicating he'd like it to be more at catcher, but it is what it is right now because he's put it in Dusty's lap to say it's still your call.
The reasonings that you've heard from Dusty Baker, like McTaggart tweeted this yesterday. I think this was from the pregame, like whenever they meet in the dugout, because I couldn't find video of it, and I watched the postgame press conference that he had there in the clubhouse in his locker, or in his office, I should say, in the clubhouse. He said, Maldi, this is Dusty. Maldi works well with everybody. The last few games, Maldi's caught Hunter because I just didn't want him to not catch Hunter, and then all of a sudden he has to catch Hunter maybe later in the year or something, and he doesn't know him. Maldi takes control of the game. It's tough when you've got rookies on the mound. It's tough when you have a rookie catcher and a rookie on the mound. Like I said, Yainer is still trying to learn his craft, and he's on-the-job training. I love hitting, but there's more to catching than hitting, more than any other position on the field other than the pitcher, and the pitcher doesn't hit. That's part of our defense. They don't score, we're not losing, but we got a better chance to win. So, Dusty, as you kind of try to like read through the minutia there, he thinks that Maldi's defensive prowess behind the dish, and lots of variables go into defense, pop time, catch and throw, framing, guiding a pitcher through, calling a game, et cetera, he thinks that Maldi in that aspect outweighs what Yainer's going to bring you with his bat. And most people would disagree with that.
Right. Yeah, and we had the discussion the other day, and whether Maldi is capable or they want to do this or not, if you believe that calling pitches is such a value, well, then Maldi could call the pitches from the dugout.
Yeah, you almost never see that. Like, you never see backup catchers call a game from the dugout on their day off, though. Like, can the Astros be innovative and do it? Yes, but it is not the norm.
Whether it's the norm or not, I'm saying, getting to the bigger point of Dusty is loyal. His loyal beyond what normal managers would be.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that he has had this staunch loyalty from Maldi to where even if you offered up, hey, if calling pitches and doing some of the things that you're saying that Yainer needs to work on, well, you know what? Maldi can help him through and, basically be an extra bench coach on the games he's not playing, things like that. Dusty ain't going for it. Dusty's not going for it because Dusty in his heart of hearts and in Pawpaw's belly believes in Maldi.
I don't think it's fair for Maldi to do that on his off days either, though. Like, if you're trying to get a guy a day off, I don't feel like that's really a true day off.
But he's going to be getting more days off because you're going to be putting Yainer out there more.
Yeah.
Then you're still getting paid. So I think that at a certain point you're on the payroll. I get what you're saying, that if he's getting a true day off, then just kind of don't put the spikes on today and relax. But if you're getting more than your normal days off, then if we need you, that's part of being a good teammate as we try and, sort through all this as we go forward. So
it's a weird dynamic, though, because it'd be like, we're going to do the rundown for an up-and-coming person that's going to take over for our show. Like, it's a really weird dynamic.
It's Roethlisberger and Kenny Pickett or whoever was before him, or Rodgers and Favre, or, all those situations where the starter has a real problem grooming and big brothering the heir apparent to your job.
Which I don't think Maldi does.
I don't either.
For the record. Like, I don't get that sense from Maldi. I feel like Maldi is a good teammate. Maldi has been good to Yiner. I feel like Maldi has been very helpful to him. And quite honestly, I want Martin Maldonado on the coaching staff next year. If I'm being completely honest, I don't want Martin Maldonado to go anywhere. I understand the value of Martin Maldonado. I don't mind if Martin Maldonado is still the primary catcher for this team. But you have to find a way to get Yiner Diaz 5 games a week. You have to find a way to get him in the lineup 5 days a week.